So, good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome to this inspirational Zoom, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too. Hopefully we can inspire them to join our workshop later on.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's see. Thank you so much. I think we have like 120 people registered for tonight. And I know that many of you know me as an Access Consciousness facilitator. So my name is Vladica, and yes, I am facilitating Access Consciousness classes, and I have like a lot of classes coming up in the near future. I'm also a body class facilitator, and what you don't know about me is that I used to work in the business world for more than 25 years. I was working in human resource, and I was working with a leading philosophy called supportive work environment. And I'm always asking questions: what else can I add to my life? What else can I add to my business? And what else is possible for me for my growth? So 2 years ago, or more, I think, something like that, I met Niclas and he will introduce himself. But what I want to say about him, that I met him and I was so inspired about his about leadership and the way he communicates that, and the way he's working since 17 years with the organizations. So I took a couple of classes with him, and one of them was Harrison assessment, which is an instrument where you can actually look at the paradox of your strengths. And after that, I did a radical collaboration training with Niclas, and I was so inspired. So I chose to become a certified trainer for a radical collaboration. And I also facilitated a class with Niclas a couple of months ago. So this was really fun. And Simone invited us to Netherlands. And we are coming either to Amsterdam or to a city called something, September 14. And tonight, yeah, we would like to talk about it and inspire you. So Niclas, who are you?
Yeah, who I am. Niclas, I've been working with the leadership since 1999. Me and my friend, we started a company here in Sweden called Core Code, and been working with different kind of leaders since then. And one of those tools that we have is this workshop called Radical Collaboration. And this is all about trustful, also to be trustful within yourself, about yourself. And with this tool that we will try to inspire you all to understand this a little bit more during this hour in front of us. But I've been coaching those who compete in their skills. So this is a national team here in Sweden for 10 years. And all of that is about to handle yourself, to be truthful to yourself and understand yourself. It's quite easy to understand yourself when things are going well. But there is some difficulty to understand yourself when things are not going well. And this is kind of the key within these workshops. And that is what we are going to talk about.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. And we have been asked a question by Simone, and the question was, why do we keep ourselves stuck? And what is it that doesn't give us that change that we are actually asking for? And exactly, as Niclas said, if you don't know actually and identified how your defense system is being activated and when, and if you don't know where your buttons are being pushed, this is also the key. This is creating problems for you in a collaboration. And yes, we know that radical collaboration is being used more in businesses, but in businesses, who are in businesses? People. So we actually all need the tools, because we have collaboration with our family, with our friends, in our workplace, and actually collaboration with us. And exactly as he said, do you really, how can you trust, and what is it that is required for you to trust you in every situation and know that you can change that the moment you become aware of when your buttons are being pushed?
Yeah. So the workshops is actually about to learn about yourself. How do you collaborate with yourself, within yourself? For collaboration starts within yourself. And the workshop that we are called Trustful Leadership, that we are going to add on different kind of tools. One tool called LifePhone is where you can actually directly on paper get a result what's happening to you when you go from a very successful behavior to an unsuccessful behavior. And this is what we are going to work with during these workshops. And of course, all of those things that we are going to do is working with every individual. So the first day during these workshops is getting to know yourself a little bit more, to understand yourself when you go from a successful behavior to an unsuccessful behavior, and take you there from the unsuccessful behavior to the most successful. So you once again can collaborate with other people. So that is what we are going to do. I remember when you went through the workshops on the first day, you had some kind of interesting
resistance.
Yeah.
Resistance and awareness. Okay, so when I did the class the first time, it is a 3-day class. In the first day, what we do is actually that we do this exercise. You are all teamed up in different groups, and you will get a task. And the task is to look, how can you make this company become successful? It is a transition tool, right?
Yeah.
And what happened to me is that the moment I was in a team of people, working together with people, my defense system went up. And when we started to talk about financing, my defense system went up even more, because this was one of the skills where I was not enough competent, according to me. And what I did is that I checked out. And this is something that we all have. We all have a lot of fears coming up into our system when we find ourselves into a situation that is unfamiliar to us. So what the program gave me, actually, it gave me the awareness to understand, this is when I'm checking out. Every time when I go into a weird feeling of that I am not competent enough, I'm checking out. And I don't actually have a tool to handle it. And yeah.
So the tool when things happening is to stop where you actually feel that the defense systems take you from your best behavior. So what we are trying to identify by all the participants is to find those tools for each and every one of you to stop, behave on the way that you are not successful. And for working with that, you need time. That's why we have 3 days. Time to understand how we're actually going to change that behavior to more successful behavior. That is what's happening during this time. And the tool that you learned was something called STOP.
Yes.
And some of you maybe have heard about it already, because when you're not successful within your behavior, you have to stop yourself going further on with this unsuccessful behavior. And the stop is, of course, a way to withdraw from the situation, to understand what is really happening here. Why am I not successful? So that is one tool that we can give you directly here. But on the workshop, we will work even deeper with that tool.
So can you talk a little bit, Niclas, what is happening to the brain when fear is being activated?
Yeah, of course. It's most simply to explain the brain. It's on 3 parts. You have neocortex, where your thinking brain. And the neocortex is when you are successful, when you are calm, you actually have whole thinking parts within your brain. But exactly the time you feel the pressure or the stress, then you go from the thinking parts into the amygdala, which is your feeling part within the brain. And the feeling part, you think maybe you are smart, clever, but actually you become quite stupid. So when we are stressed, then we are not so good in solve problems or solve relationship or even talk to other people. So therefore, we need to find a place where we can withdraw from the situation to understand that, okay, I am in a situation which is not successful for me. Just take a break or whatever you need to do. We have to, each person have their way to understand what's happening within yourself. So that's what we are actually going to work with during these workshops. So
we are going to identify actually specifically for you what is happening when your buttons are being pushed and your fear is coming up, and you will get the tools of how to change it.
And you will get the paper on what's happening on you. So that is one thing that you will have it on paper that actually make you, okay, this is what's happening to me. Do I want this or do I want to change that one? So that's one tool that we are going to work with during the first day. So the first day is very intensive. We are going to work the whole day, even on the evenings.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we sleep on it.
Then we will sleep on that, and maybe we will come to the class the next day, maybe not. We will definitely show up for you, no matter what it takes. Yes.
And day 2, of course, we are doing some reflection on what's happening to day 1. And to understand yourself, you need to work with the reflection. One of the most important tools within this or in life is to listen. And we are taught to listen to each other. But listening exercise is also to listen within yourself. What is the body telling you? What is your brain telling you? So to listen, understand yourself is a very important tool. And this is what we are going to do on the beginning of the day 2. To understand and actually to see, is there something I need to change within my life? And later on we will do an action plan for that. But on the day 2, in the beginning there, we will identify that and go even deeper in this, and it's to listen to yourself. So, but on that part, you also sometimes get a little more deeper within to understand why your behavior have been this way for so long. Of course, it depends. The long is how old you are, of course, so it's a difference. Some of you maybe it's young, and some of you is old, but it doesn't matter. But the behavior, you have to identify this behavior that is not so successful for you. And those behaviors are what we are going to do action plan within.
Yes, because we all have unconscious behavior that is actually being created since you were a little child, and you used it. Our defense mechanism is, of course, we need our defense mechanism so that we have to know when something is alarming and we have to run. But many of us are actually using the defense mechanism in relationship to other people. And if you actually get the information of that this is happening to me when I get stressed, this is what is happening to me when I get afraid, this is what is happening to me when I'm sad, and when you get to know of why this is being activated, this is actually when you can change it.
Yeah, and of course, at the afternoon on the second day, we are going into the fire theory. It's a scientific tool where proven is that almost all of the people here in the world needs to feel significant, competent, and likable. And those behavior and those feelings is so important that we actually, when we have the discussion and dialogue with other people, make them feel that they feel significant, make them feel that they feel competent, and make them feel likable. Then you can have a very easy way to understand how we actually should collaborate better together. And maybe you can get what you want also within the relationship with other people. So we go quite deep within behavior, and we go quite deep within how the brain functions, and we go also in the third day into actions, of course. But on the second,
what action do I have to take to make the change here? Because this is actually where the problem is many times for people. We don't know what action to take to change our behavior. But if you identify where you keep yourself stuck, if you identify where you have made this behavior and pattern an unsuccessful way of dealing in relationship, this is actually where you can change it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the first day and the second day is actually a big analyze about yourself. And of course, we are doing a lot of exercise together with the people, with the participants, to make you understand what's happening within yourself when you are together with those people within the participant group, of course. And the second day at the end, we are doing the exercise when we see how can we work together in a tool called the interest-based collaboration way. And is also how we actually collaborate, so you as a person can have your needs met. And also within the relationship, the other person get her or his way met.
So what Niclas is saying here, actually, that when you feel a threat or when you feel fear and your defense mechanism is coming up, you are not receiving from the other person. You are not receiving the signals, you are not receiving the information. And in this case, if you do understand and identify what is going on for you, it is much easier to push down all your barriers and to actually understand where the other person is coming from and how you can use your communication skills to change the situation.
Yeah. And that's very important to understand. But of course, the whole workshop is about to understand why I don't succeed the way I really want to succeed. Because when you go home and analyze maybe the day, and so why didn't I do that? And why didn't I do that? So in the moment you feel that you are unsuccessful, then that is actually the fact that you have to deeply analyze what you need to do. Change in the behavior to make that successful. So
yes,
something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, and it is actually not so much about analyzing, more identifying and knowing, this is what I have to change about me. So then you will get your own action plan so that you can take the step toward the change that you are actually asking for. And I don't know, what else can we say about it? Maybe you can ask some questions.
We are only in the second day.
Yeah, we are on the second day. This is the second day of a class. So the third day of a class.
So the first day and the second day is actually more within to identify this the behavior within yourself and what it comes from, and to understand how the brain functions regarding that.
Your brain,
not mine.
Yes, your brain, and it is about what is actually true for you.
Yeah, because if you want to be successful in life, you have to understand yourself, how you actually can cope together with other people. So the third day is more, how do I use these skills that I have identified day 1 and day 2 together with other people. So the first day, the third day, on the first in the morning, we of course start with a reflection, and then we go into how do I function together with other people, because so you can be successful with what you want to do.
And this is actually what the class is going to show you immediately, because as I said, we will work in different groups. And as we actually play and work with each other, all of this will be there present for you. And there is the choice if you want to leave the class and keep yourself as you are, or you're actually going to use the tools from the class to change your own behavior so that you can become successful in your relationships, in your business, and with your changing your money flow, maybe. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what are you going to have after this workshop? Of course, you will have more identified yourself, your behaviors. You will have a tool together with that called Trustful, where you can see the changes within yourself. You will also understand how you actually can collaborate better with other people when you have understand yourself. And of course, you have an action plan after those 3 days, what you need to work on after those 3 days. Because on 3 days, you will, of course, have a lot of awareness about yourself. But the work will begin also after that work. And that we will help you with. What do you need to work on directly after the workshop? That's very important to understand, that the main work and the work is, of course, during the workshop to understand the behavior you need to work on and go further on after that regarding the action plan.
Okay. So we have a question in the chat, and the question is, hello dear both of you. I know, and I did a lot of body work, breath work, to recognize all the insecurities, fears, and so on. What is the difference with the exercises you will give in your class? It's all about energy and awareness, so I'm very curious.
Yeah, should you start answering that question, the difference between those what you are doing on the...
So we are not going to do body work. We are not going to do breath work. And it is actually totally different. The difference here is that you can put on paper exactly what is the fear that is coming up for you. And is it based on maybe the behavior that you created, that you received from your parents? Is it...
Yeah, what else? Where the things is that the brain and the body remembers what you were through when you were younger.
Yes.
And younger could be when you were 25, younger could be when you were 7 or 3 years old. But the body remembers that. And the brain, the only way to change that is to think differently. So what we are working with is both what happens within the body and how you think about that situation. So for doing a metaphor, your brain is your computer, and you can reprogram what you want your body can feel about the situation that you have been through, that's hindering you to make the things that you want to happen, to make that a successful behavior. So that is, I think, that is the difference, that we go in the bottom with the behavior that you don't feel that it's not successful for you.
So let me take you an example. For example, as we said, you will receive like a summary report. This is what comes up the first day. You are going to answer some questions and you will receive a summary report. And you will understand from this summary report if this is actually true for you. For example, when everything is working very well for me, I'm very supportive, I'm a loyal person, I'm very optimistic, I'm social, and I want to have result. I'm not so analytic, not so rational. I'm totally irrational. You can say that. I'm very spontaneous. Okay, so I do know this, but what I don't know is what is happening to me when I'm stressed. And this is actually what the class will show you. The class will actually show you exactly what is happening to you when you are being stressed. And what can you do to change it? Yeah. And it's not about learning how to breathe. Well, maybe to just tell yourself stop for a moment and to be in the present moment and to ask what is going on here is the first step, but it is actually more than that.
Yeah. So, for example, when I've been working in different kind of companies, which is my main work area is with company and different kind of team, is when you get people to understand themselves within those different kinds, to understand themselves when they get stressed and pressed, and get this tool that Vladica precisely went through with you, and when what's happening to them when everything's going well, to make sure when team are working together and individual want to actually make successful within their work skills or in the private life, you will make the feeling you get within yourself is that you feel more satisfied within yourself when you're noticing when you go being stressed and can stop there to understand what's happening right now and make a different behavior next time you are in that situation.
So in radical collaboration, there is a tool that is called the green zone and the red zone.
Yeah.
And this is a scientific, also it's a science behind that, that actually Will Schutz did, right? You can talk more about that.
The study about the red zone and green zone is actually way back within what Jim Tam was working with in California. And the red zone is stressful situation. The red zone is both the way the people are quite outgoing with their aggressive things. You have one part in red zone called the pink zone, and you have also people who close themselves and be quite passive aggressive. And both of those two, red zone and pink zone, is the stressful situation. And you have this green zone where everything is going well. And we have been, for the last 20 years, we have been very good of actually, focus on the green zone, focus on that, focus when things are going well. That is what we want.
Which means being allowance, having gratitude, having fun, thinking long term. This is the zone where we talk about this is where we want to be. Yeah. That's fine. But we live in a world where we are being actually bombarded by stress. And stress, let's talk about what that is. It can be actually just by anyone saying something to you that is pushing your buttons. Okay. That is the stress that is being activated in your body. And if you don't have any awareness about what is going on, this is actually where you destroy not only your relationship, but your business, your money flow, and everything around it. So red zone.
So the red zone is to actually, from working with the green zone for 20 years, we have seen that you have more result within yourself if we work with people within the red and pink zone. The red zone, where we get stressed, to understand why do I react the way I do. So it's that we are very differently reacting in different kind of way. And mostly of that all is that we react on the same behavior that we maybe met before. So even if we meet a new person who have the exact same behavior that a person that I didn't like 5 years ago, our body will remember that.
Yes.
So therefore, it's very important for you to understand that, it's not the person against you to make you feel like that way. It's the behavior. So you can choose to not react, or to identify, to understand that it's not the person, what's happening 5 years ago. So that's what we are going to work a lot with.
Yes.
And in a similar way, when you got the fear about the economical part within the first exercise, that you went paralyzed.
Yes.
So it's not about what's happening directly there. It's what you have been through for a long time ago.
Yeah, so this was actually going on for me like 25 years ago when I got this divorce. I experienced it, and since then that was locked in my body. So every time when I talk about financing, I'm actually checking out. Yeah. So we do have another question here. It sounds a lot like NLP, working with the subconscious mind. Is it? Or is it totally different? And I'm happy, by the way, thank you so much for your question. I just told Niclas, this is going to come up. So we have to to look at it, because this is much older than NLP. NLP came later, and I'm wondering if it took the NLP from radical collaboration.
Maybe not. But
yes.
Within the workshop, we have a theory called FIRO. And the FIRO theory is, of course, regarding behavior, feelings, and your thoughts about yourself. And all of those, when we talk about NLP, it's how you think. But from the beginning, back in 1940, 1950, when Will Schutz were working with this different kind of theory, the only changing is how you actually want to behave regarding what feelings you get. So you react on the feelings, but then you go back in up to the brain and understand what is this all about. So NLP is something different. A lot of those KBT and NLP and all those stuff, they are quite touching to each other. But FIRO theory regarding the behavior, feeling, and the self-concept is way back in the 40s. So it's quite old. So it's similar, but yet not.
It's similar, but yet not. Cool.
Do you have something else there?
It's not the person, it is the behavior. Exactly. And there is always a choice.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you don't identify your behavior, you will walk around in the world like you have no choice. And this is where we want to take you, to get to your knowing, to get to your present, and to trust you in every situation so that you can lead yourself. The moment you lead yourself, this is where you inspire others and empower others to take actions to lead themselves.
Yeah, and the change is happening when you feel the trust within yourself, about yourself. So the trustful leadership is all about to understand how I function. And do I want to change something? And the changes is all about to make you more successful in your life. And then you have to work on it. So for example, when you have identified a behavior that you want to change, then you have to work on it afterwards. But on the workshop, we will help you with it.
And you will get an action plan for your change. Cool. Okay, so I will actually open up for questions. So if anyone has a question here, please let me know. Just raise your hand or your thumb or something. And let's see, what can we facilitate here tonight? Anyone?
Yes, I have a question.
Hello, Clarissa.
Hi. What I love about your program is that you actually go into the action plan, and also that you practice what you learn. And what I was wondering even before the call is that do you also offer like sort of after the 3 days, as you said, then the real work starts, because then you go back into your life and then you have to use the tools. And is there then something like where you also have a Facebook group or another system where you can have more ongoing support? Because my experience is that you have a great weekend, you learn a lot of tools, and as I said, then the real work starts. And if you have support, it's in my point of view, it's easier to incorporate it in your life.
So one of the tools or one of the action plans is actually after the 3rd days, where you will work together with another person on the interest-based problem solving, is that 1 month or a couple of weeks after the class, you will get together with this person and you will ask each other questions if you really did this, if you take the action that was given to you to solve that specific case. So you come to the class with real cases. And the second one is that we don't have any Facebook group, because this has been actually more implemented into the organizations. But we can, of course, create one. And the second one is that we will get together with all of you on a Zoom, maybe for, I don't know, 2 hours or what?
3 months later, we
always have a follow-up. So the follow-up is, okay, so what worked, what didn't work, and you can, of course, send in your questions. And the possibility is there after the class to get individual coaching if you want to work more on your personal profile, where you get that, and you have maybe more questions about yourself and how you can use your own tools. Yeah. So yeah.
So normally during those workshops, 90% of all the participants identify something that they want to actually change. And the first thing is, of course, to have the will to change that. And to make that successful is this follow-up meeting that we will have 2 months later together, because then your mind and your brain will actually unconsciously work with the changes that you have identified during the workshop.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No more questions? Okay.
But they have your email address?
Yes, of course. They have my email address. You will all get the recording after this presentation. And if you have more questions, you can talk to Simone, or you can talk to me or to Niclas.
The workshop is the 14th of September?
Yeah, the workshop is September 14, and it will either be, depending on how many people we are. If we are more than 12 people, we will have it in Amsterdam. If we are 12 people, we will have it at Simone's place. So if you are really interested in taking the leap and taking the step towards to trust you, to lead you in every situation without any reaction, because this is the problem that we have, that we all react, and to get to understand what is happening in my body, what is happening in my mind, what is happening with me, this is actually the class for you. And it is a very dynamic class. It is a lot of fun, and it gives loads of tools.
And thank you. It was very fun to meet you all. So it was fun to talk to you as well.
Yeah, thank you.
And hope to see you.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Dank u wel.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Great.
Bye.